one. Hello, 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 beautiful people, and welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. That was a interesting remix, but anyway, we're back for Brands, Business, and Boundaries. I am Shekinah Holiday.
And I am Kimberlyn Jackson.
Welcome back, y'all. It's so interesting because when I say y'all, I don't really know who we talking to out there.
I know, right? Who are the y'alls? Y'all gotta identify yourself
I guess
now.
we can call y'all our coworkers, right? So welcome coworkers to the break room. Okay, come on into the break room. We having a
I'm
little
loving this right now. Where you going as you're doing this on in the moment? I'm here for it. I'm
yeah.
picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. It's time for a coup. No, I'm just kidding. But to overthrow the system.
Overthrow the
Okay.
establishment.
So identify yourselves in the comments. Let us know who you are. Let us know what you're working on. Tell us your business, or you can just leave us some bubbles or the orange book. Those are officially our emojis, okay? We would love to, connect with you. So today, you guys, during our co-working session, we actually co-worked on a project together. If you don't know, we have an internship called Found Her Future Collective, and this is a project, our baby. This is year one. This is our inaugural collective. So we're kind of building as we go. Yeah, now we're building the plane as we fly it, and so our interns are about to enter part two of the internship, which is titled The Metamorphosis. And so today we were just working on building out our initial lesson in that. And it is really just kind of expectations, culture, systems, the things, setting the tone for what to kind of expect going forward. And so one of those expectations that we were talking about was in the professional sphere, and that is that we want our interns to have an employee mindset, or excuse me, an ownership mindset as opposed to an employee mindset. So it was important for us to kind of define, what each of those look like and what each of those meant. So, to begin, I'll just share a couple of the bullet points that we have listed under an ownership mindset. And while I'm doing this, in the comments, in the chat, y'all let me know your understanding or experience of an ownership mindset versus an employee mindset. Okay. So, owners, they take initiative, they have self accountability, they move with intentionality, they have attachment to the work and investment in the work. There's also genuine care for the process and the results of the work, and they do this while being efficient and prioritizing what needs to be prioritized. They think globally and holistically, so on a macro and a micro level. There is an intent. They move in a way that is effective in communication and intentional. They are reflective. They receive and apply feedback well. And last but not least, there is some sort of succession and sustainability plan or ideals that they operate off of. So, with that being said, I'm going to let KJ share with us the opposite side of that, which would be the employee mindset. You're muted, my love.
Just kidding. Thank you for that. So the employee mindset would be the non-examples, right? So as opposed to taking initiative and intentionality, it might look like waiting for direction and doing only what you're told and when you're told and nothing more, right? So that would be an employee mindset. As opposed to self accountability, which falls under an ownership mindset, it might look like external accountability. So you're only performing when somebody is watching. And if nobody is watching, then you just let everything fall through. It's very much only if there is an external force that's a part of this that you show up. Ownership mindset, investment, and attachment. And so the employee mindset would look like detaching from the work. This is just a task. I do it, I move on. I don't really care. I don't care whether it lands well. I don't care whether it lands at all. I check the boxes and we on to the next thing. That is an employee mindset. An ownership mindset would be like the efficiency and prioritizing, and like with our time and energy and resources and things of that matter. Employee mindset, I'm watching the clock. I work from this hour to this hour. That is not my job. That is not my job.
Okay.
Type things, right? So that's what the employee mindset looks like. And then I'll keep on with another employee mindset, tunnel vision, where you only focus on your lane. You are unaware of how what you do impacts the system at large, impacts other people. You are just simply doing this little task. It tell you to press this button every 30 seconds. You press the button every 30 seconds. You don't know what the button does. You don't know why, if you don't press the button in 30 seconds, that it matters. It's just, I'm doing, again, what I'm told, when I'm told, how I'm told, only if you're watching type situation, as opposed to that global thinking where you see the big picture, the details, and how things connect. Another ownership mindset that Shekinah mentioned was that intentional communication and ensuring that you are communicating with people. What that might look like as an employee mindset is now it might be reactive communication. So you respond when you are asked. If they don't ask, you don't say nothing. You don't flag problems or gaps or updates proactively. It's just kind of very much after the moment. Oh, my bad. Oh, yeah, this finna break over there, and been knowing that it's about to break for forever. But instead of saying something, it's just like, that ain't my problem. An ownership mindset is reflective and, pausing and asking questions and things, whereas an employee mindset is that you are defensive. Feedback is an attack and is criticism, is deflected, is minimized, is forgotten, as opposed to really internalizing that. And then the last one is with that succession and sustainability. I personally don't believe that any idea should die with the person. I really firmly believe that all the knowledge that we have in our head should go somewhere, whether it's a book or a YouTube series or something. Like, we should be sharing that information. But an employee mindset really looks like, I'm just doing this right now. I don't care. I do not care what happens from this point on. I'm literally just passing through.
It's funny because as you were talking, I was like identifying where in my life I've been on which side of the spectrum and what was happening. Because I think there's a season, a space, or a place for each. I don't think either mindset is inherently wrong, right? Because I am just an employee. It is not my job to
I do not
consider,
own this joint.
and I'm not gonna stress myself out about it. You know what I mean? But I think it is important to know what role you are expected to be in. That, I think, is the key, because when I think back to enterprise, they position your role as it should be an ownership mindset, right? You should think globally. If something's wrong, you should say something. You should take accountability and step up and own this thing. This is your branch. The problem becomes when the when I have my panic attack, is because I'm saying the things, I'm doing the things, I'm pointing out the problems, but the resources, the solutions, the whatevers are not coming because I'm not an owner, because it simply is just feedback, really, because I am just an employee. And so that dissonance in your mind of like, well, I'm supposed to have ownership, it creates this feeling of shame. It creates this feeling of not good enough. It creates this feeling of guilt, which is literally what I was thinking. Like, what am I not doing? How am I not performing? How is it that I can't get this done? Why can't I execute? What do I need to do? What more could I implement? What am I not owning? Until my brain literally just it stopped. It broke. It shut off. Like, girl, you have done all you can do. You can only do so much, which you can only make so much with $2. You cannot feed
Mm-hmm.
an army of 100 people with $2. All
Mm-hmm.
y'all gonna get is a
Mm-hmm.
little tablespoon of rice, and they still gonna
Mm-hmm.
be hungry. And that was absolutely the
Mm-hmm.
best you could do with the best you had, and they're still gonna be mad, right? And you still did your best. So like, I think it's important to know and identify where am I at in my life and what mindset, or is it a mix? Sometimes there's a meshing of the two, but like, what mindset actually is supposed to serve me in this season, in this sphere that I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the question, the deeper question is, Wes too, what do you want that to look like in this season? And what is your actual context, right? If you are literally an employee, listen, let me tell you something. I am not team go act like you a owner as something you don't own.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So if you in a space where this is not your shit, this ain't your shit. I don't care what they tell you that you family and you this and you could do this and you got autonomy and blah blah. This is not yours.
Yeah.
The difference in Found Her Future is that we're working with women who are building their own shit.
Correct.
And so we need you to approach this like a owner. I'm not gonna be running after you for you to do things that you got to do to be successful.
Correct.
I'm not gonna be running after you to be like, hey, did you get the thing? Did you turn in the such and the so and blah 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 blah? I'm not gonna want this more than you because this is yours. So that means that we, like you said, have to know, okay, I've been in an employee mindset because I've been an employee. I've been at somebody's job. Therefore, I don't care, right? To an extent. Don't go into people's job like not caring for real, because, employment is hard out here. So if that's
We
the
still
phase
approach
that
things
you
with
at,
excellence.
you know what I mean? But also this is not mine. So
Right.
I'm not about to be up late nights and, high blood pressure and heart racing and at odds with my family over something that I do not own.
Right.
Now, if this is mine, then
It's
I
worth
want to
it.
treat that as such. You know what I mean? Because I know that I'm investing in me. And unfortunately, what has happened with a lot of our conditioning is we've been taught to give that type of energy
Yep.
to somebody else's job to make them rich, as opposed to putting that into our own
Yeah.
projects, right? And I'll say this last thing because I don't want it to sound like we are shitting on jobs, right? Because we have had jobs, okay, and may have to have another one again. I pray not, but whatever, it's in the realm of possibilities. The idea is not to minimize jobs. The idea is to understand that in a job as an employee, you're there to collect something.
Right.
You are there to get skills, to get information, to get access, to get training, to understand how the inner workings of something works, so that you can take that and then apply that elsewhere. That job is not your final resting place. Okay. And I feel like our younger generation, that they are more so getting that. I definitely know, so I'm 45, y'all, for context. So I know in my generation, it was like you go to that job, you keep that good job, and you retire from that good job. That was the messaging. I do believe that as the generations are coming in, that is not the messaging anymore. But for anybody who is in that position and you're feeling like you're stuck in a job situation, my urge to you would to be figure out, what am I supposed to be getting from here? And so then you're doing something, but you're doing it ultimately for
For
you.
you. Yeah.
Because you are putting yourself, not, oh, I know I need to get this training. They say they cover that training. That's going to come in handy with the vision I got. Let me go on down to that training and get what I can get, right? So yeah, I wanted to point out those things.
Yeah, no, excellent point. And so yeah, I'm glad we had this conversation because it's very helpful when building out your brand and you're developing your business and determining what are your boundaries, because to your point, there is a mode, there's a space and a place. Okay, when I'm down to that job, I am an employee. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my job well. But there's not this global thinking. There's not these extra considerations. There's not these additional stressors. When I'm off of the clock and I'm working on my brand, when I'm working on my business, my boundary, I'm going to stretch myself. I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to think beyond. I'm going to consider. I'm going to engage with. I'm going to go the extra mile for myself. because it's what I'm building. And so we wanted to make sure that we are big on, let's be clear here, okay? We are big on, let's set the expectations, let's just have the conversation. So in developing this collective and working with grown women who have lives and children and husbands, or not, cats and plants and other things going on, we need to be clear. And still, when you come into this space, this is our collective that Kimberly and I have founded, but this is your work. These are your projects. We are providing this space so you have the opportunity to take full advantage and take up full space. And we need you to know that that's what we expect. So when we ask certain things, when we approach things a certain way, when we are looking for certain information, well, that's why. You're not just an employee around here. You're pulling your weight. You're contributing. You will be expected to say, well, in 10 years, in 5 years, you will be expected to, you know, and there are women who want that, right? Who want that level of responsibility and expectancy, because they always are just played small in their roles, or they don't know what it feels like or looks like to be able to be accountable, right, in those ways, because they haven't had those opportunities. So there's also like that layer to it as well. So yeah, so we just want to share that, hopefully that was helpful to somebody. And anything else you want to add, KJ?
I think I would just challenge you all to let us know in the comments, like where you feel like you're falling and what you want to do about that. So if you're saying to yourself, I am, full on employee mindset right now, is that a space that is bringing you joy? If it is not, then again, what can we get out of that space and how can we shift towards something that we actually want to be doing? If you are in a space where you're like, yeah, I got that ownership mindset, I'm ready to get these things, together and all of that, tell us what you're working on, child, so we can make sure that that we got you on the radar, because we have so many opportunities, not just our universes. There are people that are connected to us in different universes that are also doing amazing work. So we believe in collaboration around these parts, and invite you all to make it plain to both us and the people in the comments about what you have going on in your universe and your world, so we can come and check you out.
Indeed. And if you would like to be a part of our next Found Her Future Collective next year, applications are open and will be open on a continuous basis. So you can visit tinyurl.com/foundherfuture and find more information there. Okay. We would love to have ya. All right, y'all. We will be back next week for brands, business, and boundaries. Bye.
Bye, y'all.